Hey everybody, welcome to the show. This is Spoilers Intended, a podcast about series and films. I'm Steven.
I'm Andrew.
I was going to say joined by, but you cut me off.
You just kind of looked at me.
You kind of trailed. I'm Ryan. I'm Ryan.
Oh, we're keeping that, or we just plowing forward?
We're keeping that.
Oh, okay.
Plow on through.
Doing it live. We did the outro for the intro. We're going to do the intro for the outro. Cats and dogs lying together.
Mass pandemonium.
2022 is coming to a close, and we thought it would be fun to look back at all of the episodes we put out this year. So buckle up. This is 10 hours. No, I'm kidding. Just kidding. We're just going to go down the list and look at the episodes. If we have something funny to say about it, or if it was just, it was a decent episode, or, oh, yeah, I sounded terrible in that.
I don't remember.
I don't remember any what we did last week.
Yeah.
So that's what's funny is I felt the same way, but I started looking at the list, and I'm like, oh, yeah, that was blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah, that was,
I can remember the subject matter, but not the episode itself.
So what you're saying is you're not going to have any callbacks.
And I wasn't even here for half the year.
Yeah,
that is true.
That's the real fun. Is Ryan's like, yeah, I remember that one. No, I wasn't here.
Yeah.
But we figured this would be a great way just to kind of look back at the episodes. Maybe there's something you didn't listen to because you weren't that interested in it. Maybe we talked about it. You're like, oh, that
Maybe
sounds
you forgot
pretty good.
that we reviewed it. We don't know.
Or you don't know that we reviewed it because you just didn't feel like scrolling all the way down because we put out a lot of episodes this year.
Yeah, we have, by the time you were listening to this, it'll be 56?
I think this will be the 55th.
55th.
I think so.
55
it's
episodes.
Real close to that. I'm ignoring the in between season 1, season 2 blurb.
Yeah, well, but we do have a couple weeks where we had some extra bonus episodes like Top Gun.
Yeah,
and Hocus Pocus.
We definitely double shot a couple of weeks there.
Yeah.
I seem to recall Book of Boba Fett also jumped in there for better or worse.
Yeah, for worse.
Confirmed worse.
Yeah, when we were discussing this, we were like, oh, do we leave out the book reviews? Because we're not doing that anymore. I was like, can we leave out Book of Boba Fett too?
My
book, right?
It's in the title. Come on.
It's right there. It says book.
Yeah, so let's get it going.
Let's get going.
Into it.
So just a reminder, if you hear anything here we're talking about that you think is great, it's all out there, spoilersintendedpodcast.com, or you can check it out on your favorite podcast provider.
Yep.
But we're kicking it off here, going all the way back
to the
to
future.
the beginning of January 2022. And kicking off with a banger here, Arcane.
Oh, man, that was such a fantastic show.
Oh, man, the animation's so good in that.
It really was. I'm pretty sure I gave it a 10 on Spectacle because it was just phenomenal.
Yeah.
It was almost hard to not give the whole show a 10.
It was very, I think that was
It was really close.
rated.
It was really close. It and Spider-Verse, I think.
Yeah, well, and the thing, too, is even just the visuals are great, but the writing was just phenomenal.
The story's really
the
good.
dialogue was just, whoa.
Yeah, the music was good.
Mhm.
That's probably, and the show technically came out in 2021.
But we didn't review
We
it until
didn't review it
2022.
until 2022.
Well, and for me, I'm not a League of Legends fan, and that actually kept me from watching it initially because I was like,
Oh, I care. Yeah.
What do I care? I don't know any of these characters, and I kind of in a small way assumed that it was just
A cash-in.
either a cash-in or it was just propaganda trying to get you to play the game.
Yeah.
That worked. I had several friends who, after watching Arcane, got into League, for better or worse for them.
Right.
Yeah.
Jokes on them.
Yeah.
But I loved it. And then my wife came downstairs and saw me watching it one time, and I was like, what is this? Because the art style and animation are
It's
just
very
very
different.
striking.
Yeah.
And I told her, and she started watching it on her own. And then I had watched, I can't remember, half the season probably.
Yeah.
And she was like, I'm going to try to catch up. And I go, okay. I came home the next day, and she was on the season finale. And I was like, well, I'm not even anywhere.
What happened to catch up?
What?
This isn't catching
So
up.
she
this isn't
Netflix
fair.
cheated on you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh.
Well, I gave her permission. I was like, yeah, catch up. I was like, thinking
You didn't give her
you'll
permission
never
to
catch up.
finish it. Just catch up.
She was off work the next day.
Yeah.
and
Oh, wow.
It was Arcane Day,
Easy,
apparently. Yeah.
I think I've watched that show 3 times since we first.
I need to
watched
rewatch it. I
Well,
just got so much on my plate.
It
to,
was amazing just because for so long people have been like, Riot, make an anime. And they finally made a show. It's just like, oh, this is so good. Make more.
yeah.
So we're going to immediately drop off a cliff here. We go from Arcane to Amazon Prime's Wheel of Time.
Oh.
Woof.
I mean, you have the Rand just walking around in a coat from Times
Nordstrom
Square.
rack.
from Nordstrom.
It's like $800 coat
Oh my
that's
gosh!
never been worn before.
Everybody's clothing immaculate. I remember that came out on the night it was technically 2021, right? It was
Yeah.
released on the night of my birthday. And I
Oh
was like,
God, worst birthday ever.
It and Cowboy Bebop live action. Both we watched one episode of I think
Gosh.
Bebop, and I was like upset. So we pivoted to Wheel of Time.
Why are you crying?
Lauren was just like, "This is the worst birthday ever for my husband," because I was just like, "They're ruining it."
You
My
animals.
childhood.
And then you watched Wheel of Time and went, "Let's go back to Bebop.
Yeah,
Let's go
like,
back to Bebop."
Find anything, just put the anime on. I can't handle this. I'm gonna go read my Wheel of Time books.
Yeah, I was not on that episode, but I did not care for
It
a
was-
Wheel of Time.
Yeah, it was not very good.
It's
No.
pretty brutal.
And we know that when season 2 comes out, we're going to have to review it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, in a way, I'm looking forward to it just for at this point I've disassociated, right?
Yeah.
Oh sure. Yeah.
Now it's just like give me good content.
Yep.
Let me make material. Next up, Atlantis: The Lost Empire,
Great film.
absolute classic.
I've never seen it.
What?
Yeah,
How?
it's that era. Remember what we've talked about this.
I
There's
don't care.
an era post Lion King.
Do you like Jules Verne?
Yeah.
Do you like 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea?
Yeah,
Do
absolutely.
you like Journey to the Center of the Earth?
Yes, absolutely. I have blood in me.
What is-
it beats.
What is wrong
Am
with
I not
you?
a man? Of course I like these
Apparently
things.
not.
So for me, it was like that one. Was that the one with Michael J. Fox?
Oh,
as
yeah.
one of the voices.
Yeah.
Okay. I remember the marketing for it at the time as a kid. It was
Yeah.
just like
Ironically, I don't remember any marketing for it, and I feel like that's part of the reason it didn't do well.
it probably was, but I just remember it didn't look. It didn't grab me. Like visually, the
Man.
marketing didn't grab me
All
at
right,
the
you-
time.
you have
There's a
homework.
reason why it flopped.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
You have homework because that movie has one of the best cast of side characters
Mhm.
and their interactions and everything.
Now, the
is
writing
so
and plot are
good.
terrible.
No, well,
Oh, really?
it's not
Oh,
that
yes.
it's terrible. It's that the plot hinges on just a really dumb point.
Okay.
They
that people are illiterate, basically.
they can live for thousands of years. They also forgot how to read in between. What?
and also forgot their language.
Listen, I've forgot a lot of things in my life, so this sounds very close to home.
I mean, yeah, maybe you can relate.
Yeah.
So moving forward, we
Mhm.
stuck with the Disney, went to Encanto.
Still haven't seen that one.
It's
I
definitely
heard-
worth a shot. But if you
Yeah.
don't like musicals, which I know you've said,
But I
Yeah.
do like animated musicals.
You like Disney?
Yeah, I like Disney stuff.
Okay,
yeah.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, you
It's
should.
good.
It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's quite good. And that, again,
I
that's another
heard-
thing.
Essentially, just mixed things from friends about it. Was it some
Really?
people were like, "It's really good." Some people were like, "It's fine."
That's
so
I feel like I didn't hear any negative or mixed press or
Mm.
reviews about it at all.
Yeah, it was, from my perspective, at least with all my friends and stuff, it was pretty universal. Everyone loved it.
really,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you just have bad friends.
it's
You
a
ever thought
very
about
high
that?
probability.
It's because he's old.
They're very bad people.
Hey, now,
He's older than you.
not by much. And then we had a big pivot into a book review with Red Rising.
A sleeper hit
Oh,
from Brent Wong.
Brent Wong, yeah, suggested by a listener,
Yep.
Oh, cool.
and we went into that. I think all of us were like, "Oh, I don't know. It's like young adult. Oh, I don't know. It's first person present. Oh, I don't know if I can do this." And then we read it. We were like, "Man, I'm gonna read the next one."
Yeah, me and Steven finished the trilogy in like what, a month?
Oh
I mean,
wow.
You
By-
finished in like a 2 week.
By the time we recorded, I had to make notes to myself because I had already read the whole second book to
Yeah.
not mess up, confuse plot lines and,
And
spoil
spoil- yeah.
things.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But yeah, the whole trilogy is phenomenal.
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah.
If once you get past that initial incredible, uncomfortable feeling of him talking about himself in first person present,
Mm.
because he does is
It's-
talk
it's
about himself.
brutal.
It's like the first chapter is just like, "Oh my God, give him somebody else to talk to. I am begging you." And then you get past that, man. Once it starts going, it just goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think we highlighted in the episode, it's hit or miss. If you don't relate to that character,
Yeah.
that's all you get. The story is probably just wasted on you.
Gotcha.
So there is a lot of risk involved. But man, if it hits, it hits.
Cool.
Then, man, we're good about hitting the high, low, high, low. Book of
Book of
Boba
Boba Fett.
Fett.
Probably the worst show I've watched all year.
Yeah, I would.
Definitely the
up there.
worst
Concur
one that
with
we
that.
reviewed.
It's up there. It's got to be up there. I mean, oh man, Wheel of Time is bad too, though.
No,
Wheel
Book
of Time's
Fett's
bad,
worse.
but Book of Boba Fett was
Fett's
like
worse. Yeah.
Book of Boba Fett is one of those shows where it's like it's not that hard to make a Boba Fett show cool.
Right?
And they did everything.
You
that
guys
was
did a lot of
anti-cool.
things that were actively making this worse.
So, by the way, here's old man laying in a tank in a flashback scene. No, come on.
Yeah, we're gonna do that multiple times throughout several episodes. What?
Now, an olive branch, the
Mhm.
the 2.5 episodes of season 2.5 of
Yeah, season 2.5 of
Mandalorian.
Mando.
Gosh, too much math.
Yeah,
The 2 Mando
those
episodes.
were fine.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
those.
Those were
Those didn't deserve to be in that
No,
show.
and-
but-
No.
I've seen a lot of people being like, did Disney get like cold feet and work those in? I'm like, there is no way they could have shot,
Yeah.
edited,
Had
and
it ready
made
just
that
to
was
go.
all part of the plan.
That was all part of the plan
Yeah.
from the get, which is also absurd. You know,
Yeah.
like I don't know. How do you make Boba Fett not a cool character?
That was part of the plan from the start. It's like sounds like the plan was bad.
Yeah, it sounds like the plan was terrible. I did not enjoy Book of Boba Fett.
No, I don't think any of us did.
Most
No.
people did not.
Mm-mm.
Oh, we watched the final episode and came down and immediately recorded. We were all just like, rah, 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 rah. Next up, Disney's Treasure Planet.
Great film. First time watching it for reviewing this.
Was that your first time
Yeah,
watching
it was.
it?
Oh, nice.
Oh, okay.
I
Wow.
loved it.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
That's another one I've never seen.
It's worth seeing.
It's
from the
in-
same era,
same
right?
era.
yeah.
The lost years of Disney.
That was the whole thing.
Brian's lost years.
We
of
were,
Disney.
well, we were doing like kind of like a run of like lost Disney,
Mhm.
you know, the kind of the lost years between like the Disney Renaissance, et cetera.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I enjoy it. It's very pretty, and I think it really captures, you know, like the feeling of adventure, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
And then we did National Treasure. Speaking of adventure,
Oh man, I love that film.
yeah,
So-
Nick Cage, man.
I can throw that film on at basically any time and still enjoy it.
I feel like I missed the boat on that one, and that I didn't see it when it came out initially.
I didn't. I
Uh,
never saw it in theaters. I still,
Yeah.
you could just put it on TV
I think
and
I
leave
watched
it on.
it in theaters.
I caught it. I mean, it was probably just 4 years ago.
Oh,
'Cause
wow.
My wife is a big fan of it, and
Mhm.
it's the same thing. She likes
Yeah.
The Mummy. She likes.
Yeah,
Which
it's
I
just-
saw The
it's-
Mummy back in the
It's
day,
just campy adventure.
but it's campy adventure, and we watched it, and I liked it. It was all right.
Yeah.
But I think it's like I didn't have that level of like
you didn't hit you at the right time. in
at the
eye.
right
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where it's like I didn't have the nostalgia of like, oh, I remember when me and my college roommates watched this, and then
Yeah.
you know, me and my friends watch it, and every time it comes on, it was just my first time watching. I was like, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know, I was like, I wasn't upset about it, but it didn't
It didn't
blow
wet
my
me.
hair
Yeah.
back or
Yeah.
anything. You know?
It's a bit like Avatar, where it kind of moved into the subconscious of culture and
Yeah.
became memes. And then suddenly you're like, when you watch it, you're like living in the meme kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Well, the problem was when I watched it, I pretty much knew everything that
was
was
gonna
going
happen.
to
Yeah,
happen.
that's true, yeah.
You know, like there was
That,
no.
that takes a lot of the oomph out of it.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was very perfunctory in that way.
speaking of taking the oomph out
Oh
of it,
no.
Oh my
next
gosh.
up we have Uncharted.
Yeah, I still haven't watched. I can't bring myself to
Yeah,
watch
You're
it.
not
you are,
missing
you are
much.
missing basically nothing.
I'm a huge fan of the games. I played the first Uncharted on release day in 2007.
There's a lot of cool concepts in there, but
Yeah.
not enough there to really do anything. And I don't really like Tom Holland that much. So
Well, I
He's
feel
not
like
he's not great for the character, I don't think. He's
No.
not the right casting.
I remember the very first incarnation of that movie was David O. Russell was going to do a movie with Mark Wahlberg playing Nate,
yep.
and
they
Sully was
felt that he
going to be.
too old at the time.
Well, no, not at the time. This was like
This was a long time ago.
long.
yeah.
Oh,
This was like over
gotcha.
a decade ago. And Robert De Niro was going to be Sully, and they were going to be jewel thieves, and they were going to be family jewel thieves, and that was going to be it. And I was like, that's not like the story at all. Like, what? And then that movie's been in, you know, development issue heck for so many
Yeah.
years. HE double hockey sticks for-
Purgatory.
for years that like we've come around to where now Mark Wahlberg is playing Sully instead of Nate. And
Yeah.
when they announced that, I was like, I'm out. Like I didn't like Mark Wahlberg as Nate. First off, when they announced that, like I was like, no, this is not.
Yeah.
That's not who needs to play. You know,
Yeah.
Nathan Drake. And then when they were like, no, he's gonna be Sully now, I was like, I'm even further out.
Yeah, it was not great.
No, it wasn't that good.
Is that one that's okay to watch like on an afternoon if you just like want to pop something on? or is
Sure.
it,
I
like-
mean, it at least it has a big set piece to end the film.
Yeah.
And-
That's, you know, turn your brain off.
Yeah, as long as you can turn your brain off for the final action set piece, that is definitely a fun part of the film.
Do you guys remember National Treasure? Is it about like that? The Matthew McConaughey movie? Not National.
I think we
like
just
Sahara.
talked about National.
Sorry, Sahara.
Okay,
Yeah,
so I unironically
Yeah.
love just putting on Sahara.
yeah.
It does not have the comedy that Sahara, like the
Okay.
level of
Yeah, it doesn't
dang.
have the character
Alright.
interaction.
like when you've got what
Steve Zahn,
Steve Zahn and
Penelope Cruz.
no,
Or no,
Matthew McConaughey. It is Penelope Cruz,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
Matthew
yeah.
McConaughey and Zahn playing off each other in that is great.
Yeah.
they do a really good
Uncharted doesn't have that.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's a lot of like very stilted, like, oh, here's the jab that was in the
Like,
game.
don't do that.
Yeah, we don't need that.
Yeah, we don't
Yeah.
need that. So then we have The Batman.
That was a good film.
In 2022,
Batman.
we
Yeah, it was
watched the
good.
darker, grittier Batman.
I mean, Robert Pattinson as Bruce Wayne was
Oh,
fantastic.
he impressed, right?
Yeah.
I was quite impressed.
See, I liked him as Batman a lot better than I liked him as Bruce Wayne.
I kind of liked him as both, but I do agree that he was a better Batman than
He was
as
a really
Bruce
good
Wayne.
Batman.
He's a very broody Batman.
My
not really
Chemical
a playboy.
Bruce Wayne was kind of like.
Oh, see, I like
okay.
that. I mean, I like the MCR.
I mean, you have
Yeah.
the mascara on right now.
Yeah, I
and you've
do.
got
Yeah.
the-
I got,
He's
I got
just
the
ready.
comb over.
Got the sweatbands already on his wrist. He's
Yeah.
ready to go.
I want to see that for a Halloween costume on you next year. My Chemical Andrew. I thought Zoe Kravitz did really good too. As
I mean, Paul
That's-
Dano was
Yeah.
phenomenal too.
he
yeah.
did really good.
Even
Oh, Colin Farrell is.
Colin
Farrell,
Farrell's
yeah.
Penguin, yeah.
And I want to call him Barton Fink. That's the movie, the Coen Brothers movie. Turturro, John Turturro.
yeah,
He was really good as Falcone.
yeah. I mean, they all did a
Yeah,
great job. It
I-
was a good
yeah.
film.
It was actually quite good.
I, as a fan of the Batman comics, loved that it was finally a
A
detective story.
detective,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
an action film.
Yeah.
So then, and that also led to us having, there's somewhere buried in pre-shows of the 4D Batman that became the 4D Dune
The
discussion.
Dune experience.
At some point, we need, I make sure, Ryan, that you hear that because it was, I don't know what we all were hopped up on something, but it's insane. So we kept with the DC theme here. We went to Young Justice season 1.
That was my first time watching it. I never watched it when it was on air. I mean, I'm not a really big fan of just superheroes in general.
hmm
It was okay.
I've never seen it.
It's decent.
I know a lot of people love it, and I don't want to.
I
stop
had
on
never
that.
heard of it until
It's-
I saw you guys cover
Yeah.
it, and then
Yeah.
I looked into it, because there's a bunch of DC animation
There
Mhm.
is, yeah.
that to me is just schlock, and I'm not saying that is.
Yeah, yeah.
But like my problem is, I like some DC animated films
Yeah.
based on like the properties. Me as a comics fan, I always have the issue of I've read the comic and now I watch the 2-hour adaptation of what should be a miniseries, and
Yeah.
they've completely changed everything, and the animation style does not look as good as the art style of the books and the
Yeah.
comics. And so I'm always like, and so with the series, I loved the Batman animated series back
Yeah.
in the day.
I mean, BTOS is
Everyone
And
loves
the,
that. Everyone loves that.
even the
Come on.
Justice League and the Superman cartoon back in the day were great. But a lot of the modern stuff just hasn't really done it for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, Young Justice is worth a watch. I think.
Like it
The-
wasn't bad by any means. Like
Yeah.
it was good. It's just it's not really for me.
Gotcha.
Yeah, the character interactions. I think you get some really good stuff with the actual characters there.
Mhm.
It does suffer from the problem. Andrew, like midway through watching, is like, DC's got a lot of archers
And a lot of
and a lot of
magicians.
magicians, and
They
like
do.
they have that, where the character enters the screen. And I'm at least decently familiar with comic books,
hmm
and I'm still just like, man, who is this person?
Oh yeah.
So you run into a little bit of that where it's like, here's the 5th magician we've seen in the show. It's like, man, it's like episode 11. Come on, guys, calm
Yeah.
down.
Do they have a union? Why are there so many?
I
of
know,
them?
right? So then we jumped into Turning Red. Pixar?
I love this.
Andrew
film.
loved this.
I love this film.
I still haven't seen it.
I know a lot of people are lukewarm on it.
It's decent.
Yeah.
I'm not wild about it. It's one of those things kind of like Red Rising. Like if you connect with the ideas that they're playing,
Then
Yeah.
it,
then
it really hits.
you're like, boom, it's perfect.
Yeah.
And I think if you slide past that a little bit, then you're just kind of like, okay, yeah, this is good. There's much a little cringy, but much okay, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
It's probably something that you could throw on
Yeah.
just doing something else, and you're not gonna miss too much of the film. I mean, like you definitely want to watch it,
Plot-wise.
but yeah,
Yeah.
like,
Well,
it's-
the art style looks great, and the
It's great.
animation.
Oh, yeah, the
obviously
animation's
Pixar. You know.
yeah, it's sad that it didn't get a theatrical release.
Now that
'cause
that,
that
I
was-
will 100% agree with you
Yeah.
on.
It was right at the tail end of like
COVID.
theaters being
COVID,
shut
yeah.
down, right? Yeah.
Next up, another book review, Leviathan Wakes. So this is the first book in The Expanse.
Oh,
Mm.
I mean, this is one of mine and Steven's like
The,
favorite
the
series.
Expanse as a sci-fi series. I can't say much about TV show because I haven't seen it.
It's great TV
It's
show.
good.
Too. Yeah.
But the books, if you are a sci-fi reader and you somehow haven't read The Expanse, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the audiobooks, because that's how I did them. Like they're great books.
Mhm.
Great books to listen to. The narration's really good, and I mean, just the content is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Their concept of like space flight and fights in space,
Mhm.
oh, so good.
How-
And go ahead.
I was
go
gonna say,
ahead.
how close is the show to the books?
So the show basically covers the first 6 books,
hmm
and they change a couple things, but the stuff that they change actually makes the TV show not better than the books,
But
but
better
it
for-
makes it better for TV.
For
They bring
TV,
they
okay.
bring characters that are introduced later in earlier.
in earlier, and they
Mm.
mix a couple roles up a little bit,
Yeah.
and they create a couple characters that were very minor in the books, and they turn them into characters that you want to win and you want to
Oh, cool.
love. Like, they're really cool.
And the show's wrapped, correct? They finished it?
It is on a tentative break because
Okay.
basically there's books 1 through 6, and then there is a substantial time skip between 7, 8, and 9.
Got it. Okay.
And maybe they're just waiting, or
They're like
whatever.
letting the
'Cause they-
characters age, the actors age up a little. I don't know.
Naturally.
well, in season 6, they absolutely hinted at 7, 8, and 9.
Yeah,
Okay.
I remember y'all talking about that. They did some stuff that would show up as being plot relevant to 7, 8, and
Yeah.
9, and makes no sense to have. Like it's almost like
There's
they're
no
putting in
reason
there.
not to have it, or to have it in the show if you're not going to do it.
Well, or they're
Yeah.
like they're trying to generate enough fan interest of like,
Yeah.
oh, but they could have, and then you petition
But yeah,
Amazon
no,
or whoever
it's-
has the rights now.
even if you just like even mild sci-fi stuff, like
Yeah.
the show was quite good.
I need to check it out, both the show and
The music's
the
fantastic.
book. I've got the my library. I have the audiobook
Mhm.
app, and I've had a hold on it for almost a year now. And
Yeah.
it's still not. I'm still like 12th in line
Oh,
or
wow.
something like that.
Woo,
Yeah,
dang.
no,
Very-
it's
Very popular.
it is
Yeah.
it is worth the listen.
I should just break down and buy it. Is what I'm trying to say. Also, small rant. It's very hard to buy audiobooks. It's
Just
insane.
get Audible.
Well, so you can, but then you do like the 2 week or whatever month free trial, which I'm doing now because I was
Yeah, yeah.
listening to the first Mistborn,
Mhm.
Mhm.
and
Great book.
I ran out of.
It's gonna come up a little later.
I couldn't listen to it in the time for my
Yeah.
rental, through the library, and now I'm like 50th in line again to get back into it. And I'm like, man. And so I was like, I'm just gonna buy this thing. To just buy it, just straight up, like no Audible
Purchase it, yeah.
subscription.
Yeah.
It was $42.
They're really expensive. The only way to really get audiobooks on any kind of reasonable expectation is just buy Audible, do Audible subscription, get a bunch of credits,
Yeah.
and let them build up, and then buy a whole bunch of books that are like anything over $14 for an audiobook. You're going to get a value off of it. So I
Right.
have so many like really big, like 42-hour books, like Game of Thrones, that
Yeah,
kind of stuff,
yeah.
that I'll probably not listen to for years.
But you have
them.
them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're $50 if you buy it outright,
That's
or you
crazy.
just have $14 for a credit.
It makes sense because of like the production
Well,
that
there's more
goes
production
into
that goes
it.
into it, but it's not like
But it's like when I can
that
buy,
much.
It's really
I
expensive.
can buy
I-
4 copies of the hardcover book
Well,
for like the cost
forget,
of like.
forget that. Like we talk about the production cost. You can go out and buy, 5 seasons of a TV show on DVD for cheaper
Yeah.
than that.
Yeah.
Like,
So tiny audiobook rant over. Just wanted to throw that out there.
so next up we have Meet the Robinsons. A little throwback.
That was a fun one. That was the first time I'd ever seen that one
Same.
too.
I haven't seen that one.
That was kind of like in that same realm of
That was
time.
That was another listener suggestion.
Yep.
Mm.
And it's definitely one of those where I think that they made the film a little bit too early for the technology. That
Yeah,
they
for what
wanted
they
to use.
wanted to
Oh,
do.
okay.
Yeah.
The villain though was great.
Yeah.
A
yeah.
fantastic cartoon villain.
What year was that roughly?
2006, I
Seven?
think.
Okay.
6 or 7,
2006,
somewhere in
yeah.
there, yeah. But yeah, it's not bad. It's fun. It's a little ADHD in the middle.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's
there's some good
emphatically
jokes
a
in there.
kids movie
Yeah.
at some
That's
levels.
it, right.
Yeah.
Next up, we have 2022's Death on the Nile.
Oh, yeah. That was good.
That's another one I haven't
Yeah,
seen.
it was-
I liked the first Perot movie with Kenneth Branagh
Yeah.
as
No,
Poirot.
it was good. Gal Gadot was good in it.
Yeah.
It was just a good, solid cast for
Yeah,
a whodunit.
Like,
Yeah.
It wasn't like masterfully done. It was, but like the style and the look they
Yeah.
had throughout was great.
Yeah, and this was all shot like during COVID, obviously, so they
Mhm.
couldn't actually go to Egypt. So all of the the scenery and stuff are all just CGI,
Yeah.
which is what really kind of brought it down for me. Is like
Oh, there's just too much.
all
like-
these places exist. You could at least been at mostly on location
yeah.
and still gotten a
Yeah, there's
decent
like a
amount out of it.
CGI, Great Pyramids in the background. It's like, man, dude, like those still, they're still stone. They're there.
Yeah. Well, I've read several Agatha Christie novels. I haven't read
Mhm.
that one. But I like that style of murder mystery
Yeah.
a lot. I mean, obviously everybody does. It's pretty popular.
It's kind of hard to not enjoy those. I
yeah.
think.
It's almost like Agatha Christie is a super popular writer. Or what?
Yeah,
As a-
almost.
Almost.
Let me tell you about this unheard of hipster writer I just found.
Unknown.
Indie.
This indie darling, Agatha Christie. Or it should be Agatha Christie.
Agatha. Don't do that ever.
I just did it.
So the next up we have The Princess Bride.
Oh yeah, The Princess Bride. That one
Inconceivable.
movie.
That movie that no one's ever heard of.
No, never.
I love this movie. I was raised on this movie.
This is the first. So I think when we did books, right, that was the first thing that made us really look at how we judge stuff, and because you can't look spectacle. Ooh, the words look great, you know.
Yeah.
Nice font.
Yeah,
But then
It's
this
not
was
papyrus.
this
The
was
pages
film
turn great.
That when we were like, oh, this is actually very hard to judge it with like a grading
like
scale.
a technical side.
Oh, like an
Because,
actual
like,
score.
yeah, the technical of this film is really bad
Yeah.
for a lot of things.
for
So
a lot of things.
that is where entertainment became a thing.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. So
yeah.
yeah.
We
It
had
was-
to add an entertainment
Is
score
our,
to
our
help
curve helper, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then we move on to Andrew's darling, Everything Everywhere, All at
Ah.
Once.
This
Oof.
this probably
Love this
deserves
movie.
best film of the year.
Yeah. So
So it gets Ryan's personal award for favorite media I've watched all year.
It's-
Spoiler for earlier.
this is yeah.
Later,
We're,
like-
we're gonna talk about our favorite media of the year at the end of this. Ryan's just giving it
I'm
away for
gonna
free.
tell you, it's everything everywhere all at
I
once.
mean,
this
you
is
get-
right at the top, man.
You have Michelle Yeoh, you have Kwan, you
Yeah.
have oh my gosh, what's her name?
Stephanie?
No,
No,
off the
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Jamie Lee Curtis. Oh, yeah.
like on tip of my tongue.
I was trying to think of the daughter actress.
Oh yeah,
I think it's Stephanie, but I can't remember her last
I'm
name.
looking it up.
Oh,
But yeah.
Ryan's got this,
but yeah, just phenomenal film.
and this is A24, an actual kind of indie production.
This is about as mainstream as A24 gets.
Basically, yeah. And this now, listener, viewer, watcher, beware. It is rated R. It earns
Emphatically
its
rated
R rating. All right.
Does it?
Oh,
No.
yeah, oh yes.
Yeah, they blur out part of a scene because otherwise it wouldn't have been rated R. It'd be rated NC-17
I mean,
For reasons.
for
I watched it on
reasons.
Blu-ray. Maybe I saw the uncut version.
No.
But yeah, so it's great film. If you haven't
Fantastic.
seen it, it's
Stephanie Sue.
Stephanie Sue.
I would
yeah.
have been right if I just guessed, but I felt
Yeah.
like I was taking too stereotypical of a last name.
Yeah, I mean, it's just great movie.
Yeah, this was
Fun fact
it's
too,
an
and this is
experience.
just in the. I actually know one of the directors. Not
Yeah,
not
One of the
like-
Daniels?
Yeah, yeah.
Really?
I went to school with him.
Yeah, so
Shut
this
up,
is,
Andrew.
This is how. So this is why we were going to review it, because Andrew. So
Yeah.
I had seen like a trailer.
You know
I was
one
like,
of the
oh, Michelle
Daniels?
Yeoh.
Why are we still here? Let's go. What are you talking about?
Unfortunately, I haven't talked with him in.
I was about to say, I
many,
owe him
many years.
thousands of dollars. We
Yeah.
can't. I got to lay low for a while.
No,
He
but
still wants my kneecaps.
Daniel Scheinert, he's one of the Daniels.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've known him since grade school.
Wow.
Yeah, like we
I
we
used to
gotta
hang out at his house.
I love this.
gotta
a
leverage.
lot.
You gotta leverage this and be like, yo, man, I need
No
you on
kidding.
just like 15 minutes.
I mean, I bet if I messaged him, he may actually be like,
Oh, why didn't you? You could have. Oh. This is called missed opportunities.
I mean, sure, but
Fantastic
No,
movie.
great movie.
yeah,
Anyway,
great movie.
Loved it.
So moving on from there, we go to Mobile Suit Gundam 08th MS Team.
The starter Gundam for
The-
basically most
An
everyone.
intro, your
Yeah.
intro to Gundam.
Yeah,
This is good.
It's good.
Don't watch the 12th episode. That's the only advice I can give you. It's 1 through 11, then it ends.
yeah. Just ignore the last episode. Just watch it.
Was
It's
kind of a
fun.
weird last episode.
It
Man,
was-
I went
So
like 2 decades without knowing that there was a 12th episode.
And
And,
then
then when we watched to review this, it just, the player kicked on. I was like, whoa, I don't remember there being 12. And I was like, what is that? What is going on?
wow. So I went on a huge Gundam kick last summer, maybe.
Yeah.
Whenever they added a lot of Gundam stuff to Netflix, they
Yeah,
added the compilation movies that
Oh,
recapped
yeah.
all of
Those
the,
are actually pretty good.
Yeah, so that's where because I was like, I've only watched Gundam Wing,
Yeah.
and that was on Toonami. You know, I was like, I
Every
need to give-
American has ever said that. Yeah.
yeah, you know, and I was like, I need to give it a shot. So I watched the compilation movies, and then I watched Unicorn, I think,
Yeah.
and then I watched something else, and then I watched 8th MS Team,
hmm
Was it
and
like Iron-Blooded
it's my favorite by
Orphans or-
far.
It's definitely the most realistic
Yeah.
quotation marks.
It
that
feels
you can
super
kinda get.
grounded. And
It's
they're
very-
yeah.
literally on
It
the
feels
ground.
like
so it's kinda-
Platoon
It does.
in
Yeah.
like the
Yes.
Gundam universe.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
actually a great
Analog,
A
and I'm
great
pretty
analog,
sure
yeah.
we make that analog
And I think I
in
brought
the
it up.
episode,
We were
yeah.
like, war movies. I was like, platoon, platoon, platoon.
Yeah.
So next up on the list, we're back into the theaters for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Sam Raimi did, I think, a good job with what he was given.
Mhm.
I think that he was hampered down by just it being a Marvel film.
Yeah, I liked this movie a lot. I enjoyed the first Doctor Strange. I'm a bit of a Doctor Strange fan.
I loved the first Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
I was not as huge a fan of this one. I think I don't know. I can't really say how it missed the mark, but it just felt like it just didn't quite have that same feeling.
I don't think they did Wanda very well in this one.
No, that was
Her motivations
just
were murky at
bizarre.
best.
Yeah,
They were, but I liked
her being a
seeing
horror
evil
movie villain was
Wanda.
great.
No,
Yeah,
no,
because-
they just need to get her there in a better way.
yeah.
And that's been as a comics reader, like when you see Wanda do some evil stuff in the
Mhm.
comics, and then you see them attempt to do it in the MCU, they are kind of hamstrung by like what they're also trying to do and what they
Well, 'cause
haven't
she
already
still has
set
to
up.
be a
and-
marketable character.
right.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, Disney has an issue, just like Book of Boba Fett, where
Man,
it's like
no,
we can't make
all
this
right, look,
person a bad guy.
Look,
you
like
know.
this, she still has to be a marketable character argument. Is just
Mhm.
right out. Right, we have watched Vader kill women, children, and younglings on screen. That he still sells great. Okay,
Yeah.
like
Well,
just market
Darth
it
Vader
differently.
sells great. Anakin does
Ana-
not.
Anakin actually doesn't sell badly though.
He doesn't sell as well
Well,
as
we're
Darth
gonna
Vader.
find out.
no,
later on.
no one as good as Darth Vader.
Yeah.
But Clone Wars certainly helped him in
Yeah,
that
we're
respect.
gonna-
But so I liked Multiverse of Madness a
Yeah.
lot because I do like Doctor Strange as a
Mhm.
character, and I liked
Yes.
what they did with it. I liked it less after seeing Everything Everywhere All at Once because it showed you like, holy cow,
that was
they could have done so
yes,
much
so
more
much
with a
more.
multiverse.
so. I
Yeah.
think my problem there was I saw Everything Everywhere first.
Oh, okay.
And then
yeah.
we're like, oh, it's another multiverse movie. And they just barely touched on it. Whereas Everywhere All
Yeah,
at
it's
Once just gets in there and wallows in the
Well,
concept.
Well, Multiverse of Madness does it where it's just like, well, we're in a different universe, but it's still just New York, but with a different skin on it.
there's plants everywhere.
Greens are
Yeah.
red,
And red
reds
means
are green.
go.
With
Yeah.
Everything Everywhere,
Yeah.
it is emphatically a different universe.
Everything is
Hot dog
crazy.
fingers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all rocks here. Yeah. like,
yeah.
No, and so I did the reverse. I saw Multiverse of Madness
Yeah,
first
okay,
and
that's probably a
enjoyed it
factor.
quite a bit, and then saw Everything
probably-
Everywhere.
Yeah,
so that's
that's a
probably why
factor.
my
Yeah.
perspective
if you
is
watched
different.
it now, you'd probably just be like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I probably would be. But I do love me some Sam Raimi.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Sam
so,
Raimi did a good job.
So next up, we have more Marvel in Moon Knight Season 1.
Oh, yeah. I like Moon Knight.
Oscar Isaac.
Oscar Isaac.
Oh.
Yeah.
I
Oh.
did not like the first 3 episodes.
Yeah, no, it's
of-
episode 4 and 5 are
Yeah.
probably the best, and
Absolutely.
then 6 kind of loses it a little bit. But
Little bit.
episode 5, oh man,
Oh yeah, I'm glad I stuck with it to get to
Masterclass
episode 5
of
of just like
acting.
watching Oscar Isaac act better than anyone else with himself on screen.
Yeah,
you know
just
what I mean?
incredible
Yeah, just
stuff.
phenomenal.
Like, yeah, the first 3 episodes though, like
They're rough.
I was really like, first off, even as a comics fan and a Marvel fan, I've heard of Moon Knight like twice in like 2 things I've read, and it was
So-
like crossover events. And I remember when they happened, I was like, "Who is Moon Knight?
So
What is this?"
that's incredible because you read far more comics than I ever have,
Yeah.
right? I firmly knew who Moon Knight was.
really, okay.
But I still felt like I was safe enough where it's not like I've read, whole series on this guy and I've
Yeah.
built up an idea what he should be.
I had to ask our group chat that Steven is a part of a grand total of 5 times before I understood who Moon Knight was.
like what was going on? Like, how does
Right.
this work?
yeah.
yeah,
So that was why I really enjoyed it, was just because one, Oscar up on screen by himself, being the split
Yeah.
personality, was phenomenal.
It just
Oh, yeah.
shows how underutilized he was in Star Wars,
oh for
that's
sure.
a
Which is-
recurring theme.
which is
I mean,
really sad.
Oscar Isaac has been in so many things where
Mhm.
he is a phenomenal actor.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I just didn't expect it in a Marvel property in that capacity.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
Mhm.
on a Disney Plus series,
yeah, just
I was
kind of
like,
like
okay,
a-
cool.
Mhm.
Yeah, but it episodes 4 and 5, but both
yeah,
were
just
like
killed it.
absolutely phenomenal.
So then we jump back down into another book with Mistborn, The Final Empire.
Oh yeah.
So despite what the title might make you think, that's the first in a trilogy. It always throws me.
great book series. The first 3, I haven't really got into the 4, 5, and 6
Mhm.
that he did, but the first 3 are great little, just
Yeah, it's a
wrap-up
self-contained,
series, yeah.
just
quite good.
phenomenal.
Awesome. Great magic system.
I'm like probably a third, maybe halfway through the first book.
Yeah.
Again, the audiobook loan got returned, so now I
Back
joined
in
the
line.
trial of Audible.
If I could gift you my copy of it, I would.
It'd be great, but you probably can't because
I probably
That's
would.
not how this works.
Amazon doesn't live like that.
Digital media is
They're not
protected.
cool like
You've
that.
got to be protected.
But yeah, I like everything I've heard so far. You know, being about halfway through it,
Just,
the magic
just
system.
wait until the end.
Oh, yeah,
man.
the
Now I'm
finale.
excited.
The finale. The last third of the book is just goes.
And
Nice.
it does not let go. It's so good.
Like this is one of
I'm
those.
excited.
Like when we did Arcane, right? And you see that art style,
Mhm.
that would be perfect for Mistborn.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Oh, that'd be
Like
great.
phenomenal
So
look.
the one thing that I've always been really worried about with Mistborn, because I love this book so much,
Mhm.
is I want it to be adapted into screen somewhere, right?
Right.
But then I know that they're gonna be like, oh, we can make a live action. No, don't do that.
See-
Make it
see-
an animation.
See, this
Let's
is
get the people that did Wheel of Time.
yeah. No, stop.
That'd be
no,
great.
stop. This is my problem with Wheel of Time for the longest time, where I was like, this would be such a cool show if it was animated.
Yeah.
And they're like, we're doing
Yeah.
live action.
Well, because animation just gives you so many less limitations on how characters look and how they act, and you can really have inner monologues without it being
weird or
Weird.
dumb.
Yeah.
Well,
Uh,
also having just like expressing a magic system, right?
Yeah.
We don't force. I forgot her name, but Moraine's actor.
Rosamund
actress.
Pike.
Yeah, you don't force Rosamund Pike to sit there and do the wacky waving inflatable arms, man.
Yeah. Here's two ribbon dancers. Have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd love to see Mistborn in like a arcane style
That would be
animation.
cool.
That'd be
That would be
phenomenal.
Oh.
Yeah.
Somebody emailed the French animation studio that does Arcane.
And be like, you should. I will
Please do
email
this.
Brandon Sanderson and be like, dude, if you want to actually make this a show, like go watch Arcane.
Yeah,
and then
right.
contact everybody involved in
He's
that.
probably too busy writing so many
So
books.
much, like 7 books.
Yeah.
George R.R. Martin. Meanwhile,
Let me just write about the Jets again.
ah. So then we take to the skies.
Oh yeah.
We've got a double punch. First of our preview reviews, if you will.
Mhm.
We did Top Gun, followed up by Top Gun Maverick.
Well, first Top Gun film, great music,
Mhm.
fairly nostalgic, not that great of anything else.
Boy, that movie ages a
It-
lot rougher than I
Got a
remember.
really good volleyball scene in it, Andrew.
I still love it, but I love the sequel way more.
Maverick was great.
I think it's probably my favorite of the year.
Maverick
Ooh.
is.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
See, that's tough because it feels a little like being like, oh, everything everywhere was my favorite of the year. It's like,
It-
ooh, look at me, I'm not in the mainstream. Oh,
That's
So-
exactly how I sounded
well,
when
yeah,
I said
oh,
it.
that's-
earlier. That's how I felt it
I
when I
could
said
make
it.
an argument for both films on any
I
like
mean-
I could like either one.
co-best films of the year, right there.
Yeah,
You
I
heard it
mean-
here first.
Yeah.
There can
Nope.
only be one.
But Maverick blew me away because
best Star Wars film we've gotten in decades.
I grew up on Top Gun.
Yeah.
I had the NES game. We had it on VHS, and I wore that tape flat out.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah,
And when they announced Maverick, I was like, okay, because there's been a lot of those
The
like
cash in.
we're gonna revisit this franchise after it's
Yeah.
been 30 years when the nostalgia starts to hit, and then
and
It
make
just-
our money, right?
yeah, it just farts out and it's not good. And you're like, okay, so I didn't think it was gonna be bad. I just thought, I mean, what are they
It's
gonna
gonna be
do?
mediocre
It's
at
gonna be
best.
mediocre to fine. It'll probably
Yeah.
be fine, but I didn't think it was gonna blow me away. And man, did it blow me away.
Like I've seen this film probably 5 times now, and in the theater the first time that the final arc or the final battle, basically of them going
Mhm.
down the trench or like the mountain valley and everything like that.
The
and
trench. Just call it what it is. It's
then
a trench.
Yeah, and then the final, like the second that they rise out of the mountain range, and it's
Mhm.
just absolute chaos with all the SAM missiles and everything.
I guess
Yeah.
we should have put a spoiler
It's
wall
fine.
a little bit in front
I'm
of
not,
this.
I'm
But
not
it's
giving
okay.
away too much,
Yeah.
but like
Jet stuff happens.
yeah, that jet stuff happens. I was so far like on the edge of my seat the
That you-
whole time.
You look down, you were sitting in the seat in front of you. With
yeah,
the,
I mean, like
Just
it's
in some
like
old
you're-
dude's lap.
You get through that, and you kind of like finally release your breath, and you're like, whew.
yeah.
Well,
Wow.
that was the first time. It might be the only time since COVID that I've been in a theater that was completely full.
Yeah,
Like
Mm.
like even the seats where you're sitting right up against the screen with your nose like
Oh,
straight
yeah,
up.
I mean-
even people were there. Like it was
Mhm.
Yeah.
completely packed.
if you for whatever reason you haven't seen this film and you like action movies, like
Yeah,
you
if
don't
you're-
even,
if
don't
you're a
even
f-
go watch the original, just watch this.
yeah.
But I mean, if you're a fan of Tom Cruise, if you're a fan, if you saw the original Top Gun years ago, you don't have to rewatch it to have
Yeah.
an idea what's going on here.
No.
They
Just,
tell you.
just play this one out. It is great.
Yeah, it's great.
So We just had some great stuff to talk about. Now we're going to take a nosedive. Went a little weird here. Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers.
Yeah, I haven't seen this one.
You're fine.
The film that came out this year,
Yes.
not the original TV
So
show.
I know
Not the
Andrew-
incredible original TV
Yeah,
show.
okay. Everyone here is a huge fan of the original Chip and Dale. Yeah.
Rescue Rangers, down
So good.
the
Just so
Finish it.
good. And then this hit, and
It was fine.
it was a little weird.
It was weird.
It was
I
weird.
saw the trailer for it and I was like, I don't.
It was
It,
fine.
it felt very try hard, is like the word I would describe
They
it.
went a little bit too meta.
Yeah.
They
with
went
it.
real meta.
Yeah.
And like they had a good like concept, right, to work with and like how the world works, but they didn't do a good enough job with it to make it really interesting.
Yeah.
Like when you go out to like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and like that interaction is much more interesting, I think.
Yeah, it wasn't zany enough.
Yeah.
Like they tried to make it too realistic, but then also too meta, and then also kind of zany. And they just didn't go hard enough on either direction.
So it just straddles
Yeah, it just
the line.
kind of like sits there, and you're like, eh.
yeah.
Yeah, it just kind of existed. And then you didn't really get like the Rescue Rangers. Like they didn't like, okay, this feels bad because we're like, oh, I don't have to see how you get your dice or your gun or your jacket. And we're
Yeah.
like, man, put them in the plane and like, let's do some Rescue
Yeah, they didn't
Ranger
use any
stuff.
gadgets.
Mm.
It was
Yeah.
really, yeah,
Yeah, it was just
it was fine.
okay.
I don't think I'll be carving out any time to see it.
Yeah,
No.
you'll be fine. So now, time to rise up into Emperor's New Groove.
Oh yeah, Emperor's
One
New
of the
Groove.
most-
Have you seen that?
I've
one?
seen that
Okay.
one
Okay.
once.
Ah,
A few years ago.
gosh.
man.
So this is one of the most fantastic products to come out of an absolute disaster of a production.
yeah, it's a really fun film. Just
The dialogue,
great
in this is so
dialogue.
good.
and I'm sad that it bombed in The Office because it just, I mean, it really had a lot of magic there. I
Oh
thought.
man,
Yeah.
it's the chemistry involved just with everything going on screen, and the characters are so good.
I thought it was pretty good.
So-
Again, I feel like that's probably one of those movies
You-
where
you
if
kinda
I
had
had
to be
seen it
there.
when it came out, I would
I
probably
didn't-
have so
I
much
didn't
more.
see it.
Yeah.
I didn't see it in theater.
I was there. You were too.
Shut up.
No,
you don't know me.
But I just saw it like 2 years ago. And my
okay.
my nephew was visiting, and
Yeah.
I was like, "Here's a thing. It's a cartoon."
Yeah,
And then I liked
must
it.
be for
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah, I
yeah,
liked it.
it's got some good adult humor in there.
Yeah.
It does. So we're on the roller coaster right now. So
Oh,
then
no.
we're Ready Player One.
Oh,
Mm.
I remember all of us actually all seeing it opening night
Yeah,
together,
yeah.
and we all walked out of it. We were like, that was fine.
That was fine. It was
Yeah.
all right. Yeah.
It's a travesty to the book, but I try and divorce myself from.
Well, you
from
have to
Sure.
make
comparing.
you have to make some concessions in that the book is never going to work on screen, right?
I think I'm mostly sad that it was Spielberg that did it.
I think that
Because-
was a miss. Yeah,
Because you know what he's capable of doing,
Yeah.
and either like he was held down by production stuff, or he was held down by the studio that
Yeah.
was trying to like meddle in it, or he just didn't have, he wasn't into it. I don't know.
it just didn't hit him.
felt like a
He
weird-
wasn't enthused
weird
for it.
Choice.
yeah,
Yeah.
But didn't he lobby for it? Wasn't
I
he
think
like?
he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it was fine.
I wish he would have produced it and then let someone else maybe
Yeah,
direct
I
it.
think that
Yeah.
probably because then he would have been, if he's a fan, right? He would have kind of kept it on course and like protected it from potential outside influences
Well,
I
and
and let
think
the
the other-
director do what he's got to do.
The biggest problem, though, whenever you're trying to adapt something like that, is Ernest Cline. Whenever he's writing the book, he doesn't have to get all of these licenses and copyrights and everything like
Right.
that, and
Yeah,
permission to use it 'cause
yeah.
it's a book. Where the second you put anything in a visual format, you have to have those kind of things, and
Oh,
there's
sure.
a lot of things like war games and
One of the best scenes in the book
Yeah,
that just they couldn't do.
yeah.
yeah.
I would love for someone to make a VR game of that.
Of just that.
Just give
do
me that where I
yeah.
can replay a film, and I have to be like one of the
And
actors.
you have to like hit like
Right.
the lines on beat
Ah,
and
man, that'd
everything.
be
Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah.
So next up, we're just all over the place here. Obi-Wan Kenobi, season
Mm.
1.
It was fine.
It
It was
was all right.
It was better than Book of Boba Fett.
It was better than Book of Boba Fett.
There were categorically better.
I think it was better, but not by much.
not by
I
not by
liked-
enough.
Not by enough. Yes.
I liked their use of lighting, and they had a handful of really fun scenes in there. But for the most part, it was fine.
For me, it was the I assumed this would have been the thing that Disney put all their money and effort towards to make it like the most.
Well, I think they
Mhm.
tried.
It
And-
felt cheap though.
It
Like
did.
that
Well,
was the
the
problem.
volume
The
hurt it a
volume.
lot.
Yeah. Whether or not they intended it or whatever they
Yeah.
did, But the thing with the volume argument that still annoys me is like, I have seen stuff in The Mandalorian that uses the volume, which is the big LCD
Yeah.
screen set for people that may not know. I have seen scenes in The Mandalorian that use the volume that look fine.
Yeah.
And there were so many things in Obi-Wan that did not look
Just
fine.
didn't look fine.
that I
Yeah.
was like, is this just like the directors didn't have the same talent of how to utilize it? Was it the special effects guy on that show versus
Something
another
off
one?
here. Yeah.
Someone along that chain just didn't quite have it. So like, there's a lot of cool moments that happen in the series. I won't argue that, obviously,
Yeah.
but it definitely
It undercut.
let me down.
Yeah.
Because I have wanted an Obi-Wan story
hmm
for so long, and
Mhm.
I really was like looking. I was probably like my hype levels and my anticipation for it were higher than anything else. So
Yeah.
the letdown for me was harder than Boba Fett because I had like, middling expectations going into Boba Fett, and it was kind of let down of like, oh, what? Why would you do
Why
it
is this
this
so
way?
bad?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And as I recall, that was your first guest appearance. Yes?
That
yeah,
was.
Yes.
that was.
So then we break out Knives Out.
Yeah.
But this is the movie that everyone tell me that Ryan Johnson is a director.
It's a good film.
It's
he
pretty
was
decent.
known as a director before.
I
this
know he
movie.
was.
I mean, you got Daniel Craig, Anna Darmus. Like,
Daniel Craig doing
Yeah.
an interesting Southern accent.
yeah,
I love this movie. I think
it's good.
the only problem with it is like the problem with any whodunit is like once you've watched
Once you
it through
know.
once, with the exception of Clue, which you
Yeah.
can watch infinite number of times. It's always great. Once you've seen it through once, you already know what's happening. But
Man.
that first ride through is like
It's always
great.
really good.
Yeah,
we need to do Clue.
I would love.
I
Clue.
love that film.
I've never seen it, so
Oh man, we're doing Clue then.
This is
you
Tim
heard it here.
Curry
Well-
at his height right here.
we do have, and this is more of just a general preview. We are going to be reviewing Glass Onion.
Yeah.
Yes.
Soon-ish once it comes out on Netflix.
which is the sequel to Knives Out.
Yes.
Yep.
And has Daniel Craig, David Batista, a
Mhm.
couple other
I'm looking
people.
forward to it.
Yeah,
I think
I am
it'll be
too.
good.
I'm pumped.
I've heard it's better than Knives Out completely.
Well, that's
Wow.
already a great.
I already
sign.
love Knives Out.
Yeah.
so I'm-
Yeah. So then next up, we're back on the Marvel train. Thor: Love and Thunder.
Oh, Thor: Love and Thunder. What a film.
That was another one that let me down.
It sure was a film, wasn't
Boy,
it?
Yeah.
I tell you, Christian
With
Bale.
the exception of Christian Bale,
as
it was
Completely
fantastic.
wasted.
just let him be like the villain for 3 films or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please.
Or at least give us a couple scenes of him actually killing gods.
Well, or
we got
at,
one.
or at
Yeah,
least
that
make
was
it
completely justified.
right,
Yeah.
or at least make it feel like the gods don't deserve this.
Yeah.
Sure.
Gord the God
Too.
Butcher, Gord the God Butcher did nothing wrong.
Seriously.
I'll die on this hill. Yeah, the problem I had with Thor: Love and Thunder was I really loved Ragnarok, and Love and Thunder let me down because I wanted more of that, and it felt like a lot of the humor didn't hit. A lot of it felt
Mhm.
like
It
stilted.
felt like Taika was like really like going too hard.
Well, it was like he was instead of
Trying
just
to
doing
outdo himself.
his film, he was trying to do a Taika Waititi film
Yeah.
instead of just being
Yeah.
himself,
It
right?
felt more like an impersonation of
Yes,
Taika Waititi
it did.
than just him doing his thing.
I believe that also saw you back on as a
Mhm.
guest.
I
Yep.
was on that one, yeah.
So then we had Creed.
Oh, Creed.
This is a great movie.
Oh, God, I love this
Oh,
film.
I
man.
haven't seen it
Oh,
yet.
my
What?
God.
I have seen all the Rocky movies.
How have you not seen Creed?
Okay.
It's literally one of those things where like I wanted to go see it in the theater and couldn't because friends canceled on me, right?
Uh-huh.
You can
Then
still
when
go
it
by
came out-
yourself.
Well, no, I didn't. Then when it
Weak.
came out to rent, it was like I waited and it came on like HBO or something.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I added it to my queue, and then when I went to watch it, they had just it was only on for like a
Mhm.
month or
Yeah.
something, and they took it. I'm like, what? I would have watched it. And then like
Man.
every time I've gone to see this movie, it has been like just not. It doesn't work out.
There-
I'm going to watch
There are
it.
there's some great camera work in this movie.
like
I've heard nothing but
like
good things about it.
phenomenal film on like so many different levels. The music's good, the acting's good, the action's
Oh,
good.
I mean,
the
Is the second one
cinematography's-
good?
It is.
It is, yeah.
Third
It's
one, you're
not-
hyped for it?
I am very hyped.
I'm,
for the
I'm
third one.
interested to see it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I want
I need to watch both of them soon.
Yeah.
Get
But
caught
yeah,
up.
like Michael B. and Sylvester Stallone's interactions are just great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah, like honestly, like this is probably one of Stallone's like better performances.
Mhm.
Nice. Good.
Yeah, like and he's not a bad actor at all.
no,
But like this is definitely one of those where he really punches it up a little bit.
Yeah. Stallone's one of those guys that like he gets like the bad rap as being a terrible actor, but it's like he has the chops.
Oh, yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
he has a lot of bad projects and he doesn't bring his A game every time.
Yeah. Yeah, this one you could definitely tell everyone was really passionate about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So next up, this finishes off season 1 for us at the time with The Prestige.
Oh yeah,
I love The
This
Prestige.
is a fun film.
I'm a big fan of it.
I feel like this is another one where
it gets worse the more you watch it.
once you know the trick,
Yeah.
it's not as it's just like magic. Like once you
Yeah.
know how it's done, you're like, well, this is stupid.
But I remember leaving the theater like
The first time.
time I
Just-
saw it, and just my mind was floored. I was like, Christopher Nolan, you've done it again. You beautiful man.
Well, and this is a great performance, I think, for Christian Bale 1 and
Oh, yeah.
Hugh Jackman 2.
They both did
Yeah, they
great.
both did great.
yeah.
Yeah. It's fun and it's definitely worth watching. I think the first time I saw it was for the review,
Mm.
but it was still one of those things where it's like, yeah, I feel like the more you rewatch this, the more like there's not enough else there
Mhm.
once you get past the initial trick.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of cool visuals though.
There
like
is.
the
It's-
stuff
it's
with
pretty.
David Bowie as Nikola Tesla, and they like light
That's
up all
just
the lights.
insane.
Circus.
Just insane.
There's a lot of cool stuff in
Yeah.
the movie. I need to rewatch it. Gosh, I want to watch so much of the stuff that we've
This is
talked
this is
about.
the problem is there's all these things that have already come up. You're like, man, I need to see that again.
I
Yeah.
know.
So kicking off season 2, Ryan firmly as a host with The Aviator.
The
not
Aviator.
Scorsese's best.
Not his best. No, it was
It's
the
still
first time I had seen it was for this review.
Same, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, it was fine.
Yeah, yeah.
It was the biggest thing that threw me was the color grading on the they tried to make it look like the colorized footage.
Yeah, like
I remember that.
But they
yeah.
didn't do it with like purpose and like to like
it felt very
delineate
haphazard.
this is when it happened here. They kept that style through past when color film would have come, or like I can't remember what they did wrong, but it was like then they just
the shift
abandoned
was
it.
weird. And they just kind of gave up on
They
it.
just gave up
Yeah.
on it, and it was like just don't do it at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like yeah, it was. I liked it. Again, great performance from Leo and
Oh,
Kate
yeah.
Blanchett. Like
Yeah, oh,
Kate
yeah.
Scorsese's
Blanchett killed it.
obviously the cinematography is great, and it just it's a very haphazard movie.
Yeah.
It's very long, and it's a hard watch. Like really,
Mhm.
like when you think
Mhm.
about the mental illness that he's like struggling with
Yeah.
and stuff. But overall, pretty good. Just not his best.
So we'll take a quick nosedive here into Lightyear.
Man,
I did not care for Lightyear.
Boy,
it could have been so much
it
better.
could have been. I mean, that could have been one of the biggest earners of the year,
Yeah.
And it just
it just no.
yeah, it just didn't do it.
Just
I
didn't-
think if it was anything that was like if it wasn't tied to being a Toy Story or Buzz Lightyear character and just a normal sci-fi, it
So I don't-
definitely would have been.
I don't
Yeah.
know if it would have done great then, but it probably would have at least been a better story.
It would have been a better story.
The
Maybe gotten a
movie
little bit
itself,
more
yeah.
buzz.
Yeah.
Haha, you got a
But,
joke. haha.
Hey,
Hey.
these are the jokes. Please stay. Please don't leave.
So then after that we have The Rocketeer.
Yeah.
This
First
was
time watching it for me.
that's
Oh, yeah.
crazy to me,
I
honestly.
forgot
I
about
forgot
that.
about that. So this was actually, interestingly enough, a test episode that we did with Ryan.
To
Yeah,
make
this
sure that
was-
he got the
He was
chops.
up to snuff.
Let's see what this guy's made of.
That ended up
I
having
just railed on the actor that played Billy for the whole episode. And they were like, he's on board. No,
It's a good film. I
it
like
is.
it.
Timothy Dalton's great. I think the special effects hold
Timothy
up.
Dalton is great.
That's just a flat statement,
That's-
regardless
not,
of the
not
film.
for the movie. He just is
Yeah.
great.
Timothy Dalton's great.
Fact.
But the blue screen special effects still looked good
Yeah.
because this was like right
Yeah.
before the CG revolution,
Well, and
Jurassic
Disney
Park,
really
everything
put
started
a
to
lot
take off.
lot of time with it. Like you
Yeah.
can definitely tell
Mhm.
that they put effort into
It's
it.
purposeful. It was
Yeah.
like the people that were doing blue screen special effects where like we've had decades to master it, you know?
Yeah.
And then they lost all their time.
And then anytime I'm feeling unhappy, 90s Jennifer Connelly,
Yep.
Right?
smile on the
Right?
face. So
So moving forward from here, we hit just an absolute run of great stuff here.
Yeah.
So we got Prey first to kick it
oh
off.
yeah.
What a phenomenal film.
Wow.
What a
I-
surprisingly good
Like,
movie.
what a thing that, again, if we had not said we're going to do this for the review, I probably just would, I'd be like, oh, it's just another Predator
Yeah,
movie,
exactly.
right?
I mean, now you did have some poor CGI.
There were definitely
Here and there. It's a
some
little
but-
stretch.
budgetary
but
limitations.
Yeah.
the action choreography and everything was just so good.
And like the setting and the scenes is beautiful.
Oh,
Yeah.
beautiful scenery.
Oh.
The music was really
the
good.
music was
Yeah.
good.
I
yeah.
love the music.
Yeah.
That movie surprised me, like because obviously there's a lot of bad Predator movies
Yes.
in the overall franchise, and I've watched most of them in preparation for that episode, and I can confirm most of them are terrible. The first one's a classic, fantastic movie. The second one, worth a watch, not great. That's about it. End of list. Skip to Prey after that.
Well, and
That's all you need.
I'll
Yeah.
definitely say that the intermission that we did for that one was probably my favorite one that you
Oh, yeah,
edited
with
with the
the-
tomahawk
the
like going over us.
Yeah.
That was a fun
Tell
one.
her about the website.
The other thing that had me like before I watched Prey thinking this is not going to be great was that it was straight to Hulu. It was streaming only.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
that was concerning a little bit.
And this was after theaters had already opened up and people were,
Yeah.
but I think it was
I
because
think it actually did
It
better
was
for that.
It was part of the
probably did.
contract when Disney bought Fox.
Yeah.
because it was
Yeah.
already like somewhere in the production, so it was like written in.
Yeah.
But just like going into it, I had very low expectations and I was blown away.
Yeah,
That was really good.
I would say if anyone out there listening to this has hesitated to watch Prey because they're like, there's been so many bad Predator movies. One,
Just watch
you're
it.
right. But
Yeah.
two, watch it because this is way better than basically
Yeah.
everything else out there for
It's
Predator.
way better than it has any right to be.
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
as good as the first one.
So then we have Bullet Train.
Oh yeah,
This was one that I think I lobbied for us to review because I was like,
I mentioned it.
well,
Thank you very
we
much.
brought it up, but I was
Your voice got like 2 octaves
Oh,
higher.
I
mentioned it. So I'm probably the most lukewarm on this movie out of the three of
well,
us.
no,
Yeah.
but
I
I
didn't
went
really
in
like it.
thinking this thing was going to be like a borderline disaster,
Oh yeah.
and it was going to be something that we could riff on, and then it happened. I was like, man, I love that.
Yeah, it's just a fun film.
The visuals are fantastic. A lot of the action and the fight scenes are
Mhm.
really good. For me, it was just a lot of the comedy didn't hit.
Yeah.
It just didn't
Well,
make
yeah.
me laugh. And
If it
That's-
misses, it
that is
misses. But
A-okay.
and
Yeah.
it felt like it was trying to be like an Edgar Wright movie or a Guy Ritchie
Ritchie.
movie, and it didn't.
It didn't hit those heights.
It
but
didn't
it's-
quite. Yeah.
it was close enough for me. I mean,
Yeah.
Tangerine and
Yeah.
Lemon
It's still fun.
were
I
enough
wish the
for
movie
me.
had just been about them.
Just
they
been
were
them.
my
Yeah.
favorite.
Oh, they
part.
were great.
Yeah.
So then we had Logan Lucky.
Oh man, I love
Oh, yeah.
this
I
film.
love this film.
I can just throw it on whenever and just not even worry about it.
This is another one of those. Hey, look, there's a Star Wars actor getting to do real things.
Yep.
And Adam Driver.
Yeah,
I,
this is.
I had to think. I was like going through the Rolodex. I was like, Daniel Craig, Channing
Daniel
Tatum.
Craig was in the Star Wars
I
film.
know. I was like, oh yeah, Adam Driver was. Did you say cauliflower to
Did you
me?
say cauliflower to me?
No, freaking Daniel Craig as Joe Bang, man. Like
I'm about to get naked.
I am incarcerated.
Tid. I think the only weak part of that movie is the music. It's just very generic, heisty.
Yeah.
It's not really, with the exception of Country Roads.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Yeah.
you know, we got some John Denver in here. Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
Then we went animated with Redline.
Ah, Redline.
Man, oh yeah, those Yellow Line and Red Line are in our driving playlist, and that is dangerous when that kicks on.
I mean,
the songs?
the
Yeah.
music is fantastic. The visuals are mostly fine.
They're-
the style
I think
is
the visuals are actually pretty
the
incredible.
style is very hard for me to get past. It's too contrasty.
Yeah, now
Yeah,
that
I'm not
is
wild
true.
about the art style. I can appreciate the animation and
absolutely.
like the skill it takes to
Mhm.
to do that. Story fell very flat for me.
Oh, I again, I think in that I was like, this is
You were
whimsical
definitely the most hot on it.
insanity, and I am
Yeah.
here for
Yeah.
it.
yeah.
This is one of those things where I can just kick back, relax, don't question it too much, and just be like, this is nuts.
Yep.
Yeah.
Whoever wrote this was on something.
Definitely.
Yes.
So kept up with the animated trend here. Gravity Falls season 1 and 2.
Phenomenal show.
Love Gravity Falls.
Absolutely.
Probably one of the best American TV shows ever made
It's got to be up there,
for animation.
at least for animation.
Definitely, yeah.
It's
yeah.
gotta
Well,
be up
especially
there.
kids animation.
Yeah.
By
Oh
far.
man,
Alex Hirsch just absolutely kills it.
Yeah.
As Grunkle Stan,
Mhm.
probably the standout of the whole.
yeah. If you
Yeah.
somehow have not seen Gravity Falls season 1 and season 2, or if you got like partway through season 1, you're like, I don't know where this is going. I guess I'll leave
It's
it
worth
alone.
it.
Go back.
Yeah.
Disney Plus. It's easy to find.
Yeah.
It is totally worth. And those shorts too that they have at the end
They're fun.
are also pretty fun.
So I, as a fan of like Twin Peaks, X-Files growing up and, things like that, I had several friends tell me I should watch it because they had kids and they'd watch it. And I remember being like, okay. Because I remember when it came out, it was on Disney XD.
Yeah.
Is that the channel?
Something like that. Yeah.
And I remember like seeing it, this is right when I was about to get rid of cable. I
Uh-huh.
think I saw it at someone else's house. And I was like, there was no way to watch it.
Yeah.
Short of me getting a cable subscription and then trying to like find, and apparently we talked about in the episode, like the
It
release.
was incredible. It was just insane how it'd be like, here's 2
All over
episodes.
the place,
Wait
yeah.
6 months. Here's 3 episodes.
But I'm glad I watched it. I watched it front to back and loved it.
Yeah, I've seen the show multiple times, and
Yep.
it's just great.
Yeah.
So then, again, still animated, Spy Family.
Spy Family Season 1,
Season 1, Part 1.
Oh yeah, you might be like me and calling it Spy X Family. It's just Spy Family.
It's just Spy Family.
Yeah.
Fun show.
It was. I
It's
think
fun.
it moved a little slow for me, but the animation's really good. I like the characters,
Yeah,
and
I like
it's
the
a really
setting
cool
a lot.
premise. Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
the setup
The,
and
the premise is great, and the setting is fun.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fun comedy in there. And it's actually it's very wholesome for,
Mhm.
for what a standard like shonen anime
Mhm.
kind of is.
Yeah.
And currently season 1, part 2, excuse me,
Mhm.
is about to finish, but I think we only have like 2 episodes left in the season. And it's more of the same. I'll definitely say that the show has picked up a lot of the emotional kind of weight towards the end of this season so far, and it's definitely added a lot more to the story that I liked. They introduced like maybe two more characters,
Yeah.
and they give you a little bit more time with each of the main characters, and it's been really good.
I know the last episode of the first part of season 1 was like nowhere near like what you would think of
Yeah,
as
it's not
like
like a
a
climax or anything.
finale or anything. And so watching it, I was like, are we sure this is there not an episode after this? 'Cause
Yeah.
this doesn't feel
You're
like
it's not
it-
getting
it-
anywhere.
they're
It's
not
very
going
much a
anywhere.
non-episode.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
a very much just like another episode that just kind of it's not even the strongest episode of the back half of that part
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
first part of the season. And I was like, wow.
That's what happens whenever you're watching, I'll say, long form TV,
yeah.
because
Yeah.
shonens are generally supposed to run multi-seasons.
They're prepped for this thing
Yeah.
to be around for at least 5 seasons.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. So then we have another double up here where we did Hocus Pocus in preparation for Hocus Pocus 2.
Nostalgia.
Yeah.
And nostalgia bait.
Yes. The very good terms for
Yeah.
it, too.
I mean, Hocus Pocus is very much a show.
Just a Hocus. It's a movie,
It's
first
fun.
of all.
That-
It's a lot of
Midler
fun.
kills
It's
it.
something I watch every
It's
Halloween.
a Halloween staple.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if Hocus Pocus 2 is going to hit that. I did enjoy it.
Yeah, I didn't hate it,
Yeah.
right? I just don't like it's the same problem with like the new live action quote unquote Lion King. If I sit down and say I'm gonna watch Lion King tonight, I'm watching animated one.
Well, I'll probably
Right.
have, like, if I'm watching Hocus Pocus and then, like, it just auto plays.
It
to
kicks
the next
over,
one, I'm like,
yeah.
yeah, sure. Just
I'm
keep
still
it.
doing
Right.
something else,
But I'm not gonna seek the second one out. I don't feel like.
Yeah.
It was
No.
fine.
The
There was a
music-
lot of
music-
issues with it.
Yeah, it didn't. I really like their lighting though.
Mhm.
The way that they did.
Yeah,
the
and this
scenes and
this
stuff.
was one right where I've complained on some TV shows where it felt like a stage, right? This was one where they did make it feel like a stage, and it worked.
And it
looked
worked
was
good.
fine,
yeah.
Which is rare because boy, there've been a lot of misses on that attempt.
They're trying.
But compared to the original, and some of it may just be nostalgia speaking. We kind
Yeah.
of got into that with those episodes.
Yeah.
It just doesn't hold up as well.
Yeah.
I just feel
Sadly.
like it too. Like Disney, not to spoil anything, so I'll speak very vaguely and cryptically. That-
Interpret this how you will, people.
Disney is very
Clip
bad
it, run
about.
with it.
They don't want very bankable characters to be villains.
Villains.
Yes.
And there's certain characters like the Sanderson sisters that just need to be villains, and we love them for it, and it's fine.
Yeah, it's totally
Yeah.
fine.
And so, like that was my biggest core friction, I think, with
Again,
the section.
we're
the
right. We're
second
right
one.
back to the Vader thing, where it's like our first introduction to the Sanderson sisters. They kill a child.
They kill a kid.
They kill her,
Everyone's fine with
and
it.
everyone was totally fine with it. They're
Yeah.
like, cool. They're pretty cool though.
It was the 90s. People were weird.
Dude, that
Yeah,
that
it's
movie
awesome.
was wild. the shift between like the 90s version of bullying where it was like, yeah, dude's gonna take your shoes, beat you up, yada yada, to like this version of bullying where it's like, oh, he just says, sort of mean things to you.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. He didn't even take her shoes.
Yeah, like come on, man. Like hit him up
Yeah.
for some smokes and take her shoes. All right. So then we hit maybe a little run, or not a run, but we hit a classic here with Alien.
Oh yeah,
Probably my favorite sci-fi of all time.
yeah. One of my favorite movies.
It's got to
of
be
all
up
time.
there in terms of class. You put this up there with another one that's coming up.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like your pieces, some of the pieces of kind of the holy grail of sci-fi, right? Classic
It
sci-fi.
is.
Yeah.
I think Alien is just almost a perfect film.
It's great. It's got the horror element down, right?
Yeah,
the
it-
sci-fi
yeah.
horror.
It has the horror element down. It has great acting by Sigourney Weaver. and
fantastic
Tom Skerritt.
cast.
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Everything
the
about
set
it.
design
Yeah.
is just
Oh,
incredible.
The
Well,
ship
and the
is great.
cinematography is great because of the limitations of the time period.
The
where
weird
they
man in a
couldn't-
rubber suit.
Man in a rubber suit. Like, and guess what? It makes the film better. Because
It makes it better.
limitations.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ah, man. Ah, God, I love that film.
I feel like too, like there's different generations of people who are sci-fi fans that like the people that were making movies in the 70s, like
Yeah.
Ridley Scott and other
Mhm.
people
Mhm.
were fans of the pulpy 1950s.
Oh, yeah,
You
definitely.
know,
And they were like, we're going to make this the darker,
Yeah.
grittier.
well, it's like John
It's
Carpenter.
1970, and I'm watching the darker,
Well, it's like
grittier
if you
version.
watch the original The Thing from
Yeah.
like 55, I think, or whatever it is, and then John Carpenter's 82, The Thing, it's like night and day, but it's now there's a generation of filmmakers that grew up on Alien and
Yeah.
The Thing and, you know,
And
things
you
like
can
that,
see
Blade
that
Runner.
influence.
Mhm.
that-
And you
that
can see
kinda-
the DNA,
Yeah.
being pushed forward, and it's amazing. But I
Mhm.
love Alien.
All right, so then next up, we've got a favorite for Andrew, Rings of Power.
Hey, I liked Rings of Power.
I did say it was a favorite for you.
I see the sarcasm, though.
no,
I
there was no
The
sarcasm.
insinuation
I didn't
that
see it. I
was-
felt it, though.
There's no sarcasm. I just singled you out. It was your favorite.
I liked it.
I enjoyed it.
It was fine.
It definitely didn't.
Bear McCreary did a fantastic job with the music.
The music
really
was
good
good.
music. I feel like the acting was a little all over the place,
It was
but
a
that
little
was
stale.
probably because of the
The
writing.
story,
more
the
than
the
anything.
writing
Yeah.
was really
Yeah.
all over the place.
Visuals were insane. Like the money shows.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
so much of the
For a TV show, yes.
yeah, like it was wow. I've never seen a TV show look so pretty. Sometimes
You know what's actually funny? I just thought about this.
Mhm.
One season of the show cost more than Avatar 2.
That's actually insane
Hey, there you go.
to think about.
Perspective.
Depending on what budget you accept, it almost costs double.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh,
Yeah. Think about that.
Just imagine that James Cameron has been trumped by a TV show.
Yeah, imagine signing that check.
that just means that means he's coming out roaring. If we get to Avatar 4, he's ready to go. I'll show you. This will be 5 hours long. Then we have our other fantasy side of the coin, if you will, with Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon.
It's fine.
It was like the opposite of Rings of Power
In
in almost
just
every way.
Yeah.
Every single way.
And I watched both of these in big chunks. I wish I had bounced back and forth as like a
Mhm.
palate cleanser between each, you know? Like watch a Rings of Power, then watch a House of Dragon, and then whatever. Because I liked House of the Dragon okay, but it definitely was not as cool or as fun to me as the original Game of Thrones TV show.
Great acting.
Yeah.
in House of Dragon. Oh,
in
yeah.
House
The
of Dragon.
performances are way up there.
Yeah. The writing was good. The visuals were The
It
music
definitely-
was,
It had some good visuals and some not so good visuals.
Yeah.
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 I don't know.
The
it's
story,
fine.
it still did that same problem for me though, of like it never justified its
Existence.
existence to the
Uh-huh.
point of
Yeah.
like I didn't like this cast of characters as much as I like the original Game of Thrones. So why
Right.
don't I just go back and spend that time rewatching the original Game of Thrones? You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
they did some fun stuff, but nothing that made me go like, oh, this is why they're doing this prequel. At the end, I was like, oh, they did it for money. Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Why is
I mean,
anything
that's,
else
that's
made?
what everyone does.
Got it. Yeah.
But I will say I think the performances across the board in
Oh,
that
we're
show
phenomenal.
Yeah.
were really good,
Yeah.
and they had to be because they only had so much to work with.
It makes
Yeah.
you realize that like an HBO drama is going to bring like an extra layer of like talent when it comes to the acting,
Yes.
especially if you come off of like Wheel of Time and then Rings of Power.
Yeah,
Mhm.
which are
It's like
mostly, wooden boards kind of talking at a screen.
Yeah.
Where
yeah.
House of Dragon definitely felt a little bit more real.
Yeah,
But unfortunately, that realness just doesn't really do it for me.
Although I will say, by the end of it, they had me going, okay, I'll see season 2.
I'll definitely
Yeah.
watch
We'll see
season
where let's see
2.
where this is going.
Yeah.
So next up, we have the first of our 007 doubleheaders, doing Sean Connery's Bond.
Sean Connery.
Sean Connery. So that was From Russia with Love and Goldfinger.
Goldfinger?
Yeah,
Goldfinger.
the way the list is done, it cuts off,
Oh.
so I can't
As
tell.
it says gold.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's.
No, it doesn't say any. It just
Oh.
says it says Bond 007. That's all I got.
Gotcha.
Both films are good for their time. And,
Yeah.
And they absolutely suffer from age.
So this was some of our first experimentation with the idea of what if we don't assign scores to things.
That was another.
Yeah.
Whenever we started doing these, we're like, I don't know if we can really curve enough.
How do we
Well,
spectacle is
there's
like a 3?
There was like multiple curves at place. going,
Yeah.
How do we? Yeah.
Because the music's not the best.
Well, and
like,
again,
the
you
the
visuals
see,
are-
action sequences are kind of
you can
eh.
see like editing mistakes and things that like they did because they just didn't
they-
know.
well,
Yeah.
or everyone is
Yeah.
dubbed over. That to
Yeah,
me
yeah.
is the
Yeah.
shockingest thing about going back to
Well,
old Bond, where they just dubbed it. They just didn't care. Like
They
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 had
just
this
Basically-
didn't
person-
carry microphones to set. They were just
Yeah.
like whatever.
So
just
pretty
roll
much
it.
all the way up until 1996 for Goldeneye, at least there is a one overdub for every single
Yeah,
like
yeah.
like some main character
Yeah.
in the movie.
Someone who has a speaking, like
Yes,
a
it's-
major speaking
it's kind of
part
crazy.
is just a complete dub over. It's like, I don't know, like, what it is about, if it's the broccoli or what.
Broccoli.
Broccoli? Whatever
Well,
it
it's
is, how you
it's
say
really
the name.
the fact
gonna
that
call it broccoli.
a-
I like broccoli.
A lot of the main girl actresses that they picked are all like Italian and French, and they're
picked for the
not-
looks.
Yeah, they're not picked because they're acting prowess. That's not to say they're bad actresses, but they were picked specifically to look like a Bond girl. And if they did have speaking roles, they were just overdubbed with an English actor.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever see Hercules in New York, the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie?
No,
It's like his
No.
first movie. The entire thing he's dubbed. throughout
Oh,
the entire
really?
movie. Yeah,
that's
it's,
not surprising.
it was made in like the 70s, somewhere
Long
mid
time
70s.
Yeah,
ago.
before he
Vanna
was,
White's in it, pre
Wow.
Wheel of Fortune. Yeah,
Wow.
but it's very similar in that like they cast this guy because he looks like Hercules.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and then obviously at the time they were like, no one will listen to this Austrian dude. You will never be famous
Yep.
with your voice
You
as
just
it is.
just got the muscles. That's all we wanted.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then he went on to prove everyone wrong.
So then we hit another sci-fi classic here in Blade Runner.
Blade Runner.
We actually got to watch the final cut, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, don't watch the theatrical cut. Watch the final cut. It makes
Definitely.
the film a lot better.
It really makes it so
it's a
much
huge
better.
difference.
Yeah, a quintessential part of sci-fi history.
I was ready to come in with a bomb score on entertainment on this.
I was too.
And then I got midway through, I was like,
Am I
Did
enjoying this?
they fix everything I hated about this film, and I just didn't know it? Like, what?
yeah. Blade Runner is the master of style.
It does.
Like it definitely
Oh.
substance over
oozes
style.
And
that
it-
cyberpunk feel.
Influenced so many
Yeah.
sci-fi offerings since then with, again, the cyberpunk
Mhm.
feel, the dystopian Los Angeles, which is just Los Angeles, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then you have Harrison Ford who just acts like a brick.
Yeah, and it's as far as a noir
Two planks
thriller
going at it.
Yeah. Clack, clack, clack. But as far as a noir story, it's not a very like deep
It's not very
detective
compelling.
drama.
No.
It's not, like it's a mood piece. It's a style,
The
vehicle.
music and the visual spectacle of
Yeah.
it. You could almost have a lot of scenes that have dialogue, and if there just wasn't dialogue and they just amped the music back up for it,
Mhm.
I'd be fine with it.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what they're doing. I can see how they're moving. I see the expression. That's good enough.
Yep.
So then we got weird with it, quite literally, with Weird, the Al Yankovic story.
That was a fun
That was
film.
fun.
That was not what I mean, I don't know why I didn't expect it, but midway through it, I was like, I didn't expect that.
So this is something that I found after we did our review was the original College Humor trailer for Weird the movie, the Al Yankovic story
Yeah.
from 9 years ago.
Oh, wow.
It's essentially the entirety of Weird the movie that we watched in like a 4-minute trailer.
Oh, that's incredible.
Except for
That's
they had
amazing.
Aaron Paul plays Weird Al Yankovic.
Oh man, that'd
And
be great.
We'll look it up after we get the recording. It's like a 4-minute, and almost every beat from the movie
Is just
is
in it.
in this trailer they did
Oh,
as a
that's
goof like 9
awesome.
years
That's
ago.
great.
Except for with like remixed actors,
Yeah,
who's
yeah,
playing
yeah.
Madonna, who's playing everybody. But when I watched it afterwards, I was like, how did I miss this? That this is just the movie. They just took this and took it to a studio and said, can we put more money behind this and make it 2 hours?
Al Yankovic is just a musical treasure.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Well, and I think in that episode, we all kind of came into it. We're like, did we like this movie? And then as we talked about it, we were like, man, we
Yeah,
really
we
enjoyed
really
this.
We came
Yeah.
out of it a lot more positive than going
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
It's a really good, solid comedy, but it is not like the best thing ever.
You-
It's not
you
going to be
better
like Talladega Nights.
understand.
It's not going to
No.
like be that thing that you and your friends reference.
It was free on
daily.
Roku.
Dewey
okay?
Cox
Yeah.
story. Or,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was really good.
Yeah.
Like if you haven't seen it, check it out. But
It
don't
goes on this
expect
weird
it.
tangent with Pablo Escobar.
So then we go back into the theaters for Black Panther Wakanda Forever.
I like this film.
MCU's best offering of the year,
Definitely.
at least on the
Mm.
big screen.
I would probably say I like Multiverse of Madness better than this. Just because it hit on the emotional levels.
It did.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, it didn't have the writing to back it up for anything else. beyond
Everything
that.
else was like not as good.
I can agree there.
That last action scene wasn't as good. So for me, Multiverse of
you don't
Madness
like
is
getting
the
out there
best.
on old Ironsides?
Yeah, they get out there on this big yacht and then like
and make the most like the worst tactical decision
Some incredible tactical decision.
But I did like
involved,
Namor. I thought they did a really good job with him.
Yeah. Them
they-
making them Mayan was fantastic.
Yeah, they handled
Yeah.
the passing of Chadwick Boseman well, both
very
in terms
tactfully, very, very well.
of a
done.
very respectful send off, but
Yeah.
also like handling the actual emotional
Yeah.
that charge. I mean,
Yeah.
what Angela Bassett's up for, or
Best supporting actress.
presumably going to be up for
Presumably.
best supporting actress for that role, and I think it's pretty deserved.
Yeah,
She
she,
did
she
fantastic.
dominates the
Yeah.
screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we're back into 007 doubleheader with Roger Moore
Spy Who Loved Me and,
and
For Your Eyes Only.
Yep.
So these are I know for my wife coming off the Sean Connery, these are a breath of fresh air. Let me tell you,
As they should be because they're both great films.
they're great
They were
films.
both very good. Yeah.
I think Spy Who Loved Me is probably one of the most quintessential Bond films, period.
Well, that has the long bobsled chase in it. Is that
No,
or is that,
no,
that's
no.
okay? Well, then you're
You-
wrong
no,
because it's
you're-
the other one.
You're thinking of On Your Majesty's Secret Service.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
There's a bobsled
The
in
bobsled is
the,
for your eyes only.
For Your Eyes Only.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Dude, no, that
They
era,
loved bobsleds.
that era of
Yeah.
Bond, they had all kinds of. We're gonna get out in the snow and get on a
That is,
bobsled.
yep.
Yeah.
Get
One
on
of the
some skis.
one of the Broccolis owned a ski resort, and they
They're
were
like,
like,
we're using it.
"We can write this off on our taxes. Let's do it." Yeah, that was a fun episode though, because I have a soft spot for any kind of Roger Moore Bond because they're just so campy. But those two
Yeah.
specifically were
Yeah.
very good.
So then we're into another contender for maybe one of our favorite pieces of media of the year in Andor season 1.
Oh, man.
Ugh, fantastic.
Did I love this show so much?
It's very good.
I had a great show.
It is
Like, it's
definitely
just good TV. It's not even that it's Star Wars.
No, yeah.
It doesn't even have to be like, oh, what a breath of fresh air from Boba Fett,
It
Obi-Wan.
was.
I mean, it was, but
yeah.
it wasn't like, oh, by comparison, this is so much better, so I feel better. It was just, this is just really good.
Great action, great writing, great music, great acting.
The entire cast is fantastic.
Yep.
I mean, in a lot of ways, this kind of takes the best parts of Rings of Power and House of the Dragon and puts them together.
Mhm.
In that you have the really well done set pieces, the really well done places, and also that good tension and drama and
Yeah.
character driven stories.
And I get that it's not everybody's Star Wars. It's not what
Yeah.
everyone thinks of with Star Wars, but it's what I was apparently definitely in the mood for because it hit all
Agreed.
the right buttons.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
just so good.
100%.
So then we have a little Christmas action in Violent Night.
A movie that should have been better than what it was.
It was-
It really should have been.
was
yeah.
Aggressively average.
It
it
really
was.
it drove hard for the median.
It did.
It was weird.
I feel
like-
like John Leguizamo and David Harbour
Did great.
did great, and they carried the entirety of the movie on their back the whole way through.
They are probably
Mhm.
taking a lot of Tylenol right now.
And there were some good action scenes. You
Yeah.
know, like there were some other action scenes that weren't as good.
Well, and some of the
Or they
some
just
of
went
the
forever.
emotional scenes didn't hit.
Yeah.
They should have gone either really hard on the action part of it or really hard on the emotional part of it
or the comedy.
Yeah,
You needed action comedy or action wholesome or comedy wholesome.
and
but
they
not-
just didn't go hard
Not
enough on
all
either
three.
direction.
Yeah, they needed two of those
Yeah.
to rise up above, and it just never happened.
But it was a really successful box office, and I
Mhm.
have no doubt we're going to get another one.
yeah,
Yeah.
they've made their money back on it.
Oh yeah, it was like $20 million.
The budget was really low. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I do imagine we will see
Yep.
a Violent Night too. We've had some thoughts on what that should be as well.
Yeah.
But so then we have Avatar.
Oh,
We're reaching real recent here. Year's almost over.
Yep.
The original Avatar.
The
The
original
original.
Avatar.
Yes.
This
I like this film.
Not the Airbender.
What we discovered in that episode is Andrew is the Rain Man of Avatar.
He
I
is.
apparently have a lot of trivia. in
Ryan-
my head about
Ryan
It's just
Avatar.
locked in his mind.
Brian stopped him midway
It's
through
just on
and was like,
repeat.
"Did you prep trivia for this too?" And Andrew's like, "No, I just know this."
Everyone just knows this, right? No, they
No.
don't.
It's just always playing on repeat. Apparently, I
Were
don't
you
know.
on set? Like, how did you know some of this stuff?
And that brings us to our final episode for the year,
Avatar 2: Underwater Boogaloo?
Avatar 2 Underwater Boogaloo: The Way of Water.
You think there's anybody listening that thinks that's the real name? They're Googling it. I can't find this movie.
I
Underwater
almost had to
Boogaloo.
stop myself from just putting that in as
In
the,
the
episode title.
Yeah. Yeah, Avatar 2, better than the first one in every regard, but maybe not as special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the one sentence review for you.
Spectacular visuals.
Yeah.
Some pretty decent acting.
Yeah.
And
Better-
Sam Worthington brought it.
Sam Worthington showed
Way
up
up.
this time.
Way up. Yeah.
And I would say the writing is a lot better in the first one, too.
Oh, they were given so much better dialogue.
Well, and after 13 years, James Cameron still shows that he is a master at action scenes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And the guy that gave us T2, he's
yeah.
fine.
Yeah, he's good.
He's good.
He's good.
Yeah, he's got it. Got it figured out.
Don't sweat it.
Yeah.
So that was a not quick, but also very quick run through of every episode we've done this year.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and little, spark notes for each
Yeah.
one.
You know, if there's something in there where you heard us talking about it and you're like, oh, maybe I want to listen to that. Well, you're already here. But I'm going to tell you to go to spoilersintendedpodcast.com or just scroll back through that library on your podcast provider.
Yeah.
Because they're all out there. And I think we've had a lot of fun making them and going out. It's got me going out to the movies
Yep.
pretty often
Yeah.
now, which is kind of nice. And yeah, I just want to wish everyone a happy, wonderful 2022 and looking forward to a great 2023. And we've got a lot of stuff planned coming up for the new year, some
Yep.
new stuff, couple of some wrinkles we're working in there, that kind of thing.
Some fun Patreon exclusive things. That,
Yeah.
We're not working actual wrinkles into the show. We're,
Oh, no,
we're
no.
working on
No,
some things that
Andrew's
we're not
down
ready
on
to
the
announce
floor
yet.
right now, rippling the carpet.
Yeah.
You have no idea. It's hard.
If you look at the waveform of your MP3, you'll see the wrinkles. We've added them right
Oh,
in
right
there.
down here.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we have some really fun
Yeah.
new content that's kind of coming up at the beginning of the year. And, one, we hope that you're interested in it. And two, we hope that you keep listening to us. It's been a really fun, I'll say first full year of the podcast. We had a
Yes.
couple episodes in 2021, but this is really the first time,
We've
we got all
done
the way
the whole
through.
year
Mhm.
through.
And we have no intention of stopping anytime soon.
No.
And it's really been a good time.
You can't
and-
make us.
you can't stop
pull,
me.
pull the plug, we'll find a generator.
But yeah, so thank you so much for listening. It's
Yeah.
been a great year, and
I thank you for the support, the
Yeah.
interaction. If you're not on there, we've got a Discord. We love hearing from people.
Yeah.
And stuff getting thrown out, whether it be a suggestion or other stuff you've seen that maybe we should see. Andrew's even just added a channel on there about hobby stuff because he wanted to show off his model building.
Yeah, because there's not only so many people that can appreciate model build, so I just have to show it to everyone else that doesn't care.
It's a
Anyways.
numbers game.
Yeah.
Someone's going to be impressed.
Someone's gonna like it eventually.
Yeah. And thanks to all of our Patreon supporters. If you're listening and you're a patron, thank you a lot. You keep the lights on. If you're not a Patreon supporter, think about supporting us. We got a $1 tier that you get a lot of cool bonus episodes on. It's $1. $1 a month.
You get guaranteed one
Yeah.
bonus episode a month.
And if you like what you heard, please just share this podcast with somebody.
Leave
That's
us a
all we
like.
ask.
Leave us a review.
Yeah.
Let us know, hey, I love this episode, or I hated this episode, or I wish you'd talk about this.
Yep.
But on that note, I think it is all the time we have for this episode. So I'm just going to leave y'all with, have a happy end of your year, and we're looking forward to 2023. But until next time, I'm Steven,
I'm Andrew.
And I'm Ryan.
and every episode recap was intended.
This
Yeah.
is Spoilers Intended.
Blah, 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 blah.
I'm Steve, and joined as always by Andrew.
Hello.
Don't
And on
do
today's
that.
episode,
Do
we
not
are
do
doing
that.
Hello.
Hello, Toronto.